Okay, now that we have the dies all set up, we're going to go ahead and load around. So we can go ahead and grab your 9mm case. So this case has already been cleaned up and ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and slide it right into station 1. We're going to go ahead and run the handle down and back up. Now this one didn't actually have a primer in it to begin with, but if it did, you would have heard this decapping pin. It's got a spring in it. You'd hear it snap and kick the old primer out. So now this one's sized and ready to insert a primer. So to put the primer in, we can grab the primer from off the table. You can set it down here, anvil up, and just go ahead and slide it in with your finger. So now that's ready to go. Take your case, slide it back in, and now all you got to do is push your handle forward and you'll feel just a little bit of resistance. Take your thumb and push the spring out of the way, bring it back out, and you'll see that the primer is now in there. You can kind of run your finger over it and make sure it's smooth. This one's actually got a spent primer since this is just a demo. Go ahead and slide it back in. Now we'll go ahead and advance it with your left thumb and you'll feel it snap into place. Now you're ready to put powder in. So we'll go ahead and grab the scale. And grab your funnel and set that on there. Take the powder dribbler and then we'll get some powder. And you can go ahead and fill this dribbler up most of the way. Alright, now you can go ahead and turn your scale on. Make sure this little tray is on there. Once you turn it on, it's going to zero out. And by looking at the paper, you'll see that we need 3.2 grains. So now this is at 0. You have one of two options with this. You can either take this little tray, and just to get a little bit closer, if you want to scoop a little bit in there. But just that little bit for pistol, this is 6.9 grains, so it's way too much. If you were doing rifle, that's an easier method just because rifle takes so much more, but for pistol, it takes very little. So that's an option, but we'll just go ahead and trickle it in because we're only going to 3.2 grains. Go ahead and hold that. And go ahead and spin this for a second. So what it's going to do is it's going to take this powder down into this threaded little barrel and then start pushing it out the end. One way to speed this up is stick your finger on the end and then just kind of shake it a little bit, and that'll help kind of cheat it down to get a little closer. Alright, now it's starting to come out little by little. We're at half a grain. One grain. Two grains. Two and a half. Alright, Alright, we're at 3 grains and we've got to go to 3.2, so we'll start going a little slower. 3.2. Alright, so we got the powder we need. Now you want to make sure your funnel's on there. Take the handle, run it all the way down. You'll feel a little resistance. That's for it flaring the case, getting it ready for powder. Leaving the handle down, go ahead and grab your powder and go ahead and dump it in there. Make sure it's all out. And you can go ahead and take the funnel off. Run the handle back up. And now you have powder in there and you're ready for a bullet. We'll go ahead and set this stuff out of the way. Make sure you're careful when you move this though, because there is still powder sitting right there on the end of it, so it'll spill out if you're not careful. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and grab a bullet. And as you'll see on the paper, these are 147 grain bullets. Alright, so we'll go ahead and advance it to the bullet seating. And you'll grab your bullet. You just set it on there, and you'll just want to hold it as you run the handle down, just to kind of guide it up into the die to make sure it goes in straight. So just hold it with your 2 fingers. As it touches the die, you can kind of move your fingers out of the way. You'll feel a little resistance, and now your bullet is seated. Go ahead and advance it one more time and run it through, and there's your crimp. Go ahead and eject it, and you are all set. There's your final round. Again, you can just kind of look at the crimp. You'll see a bright little ring around the top little part of it. And again, you can take it, kind of push down, see if you get any movement. And if you don't, then you're pretty well set to go. That's all there is to it.